What's up, everybody? Welcome to another director ranking video where I rank every film by a certain director. I have done other director ranking videos in the past, such as Adam McKay, Kevin Smith, and Wes Anderson. You can check those out along with many others on my channel. I also have a playlist of all my director ranking videos. So, yeah, check those out. Alright, so today I will be ranking all of David Fincher's films. Yes, this has probably been one that maybe those of y'all who watch my director ranking videos, that is, this is probably one you've been waiting for me to do because David Fincher is a very beloved director. He's one of the most influential, one of the most popular, one of the most, just critically acclaimed directors that most people love, and especially like modern, as a modern director. And I gotta be honest, I have a love-hate relationship with David Fincher. And you could probably tell by this ranking. Because I do think, okay, after watching all 12 of his films, I can safely say that David Fincher is a great director. He is very good. Is he one of my favorites though? Not quite, honestly. Not exactly. There's a good handful of films that I do enjoy by him though. And then there's some that I'm not quite into, and then there's some that I think are, pretty good, but they are very critically acclaimed, but I'm just not on the same level as a lot of people are about some of those films. And my number one is going to be very, very different. I'll just go ahead and say that. It's probably going to be a movie you won't expect to be number one. Unless if you are familiar with my channel and if you see my top 100 favorite movies list, you notice I only had one David Fincher movie on there. But yeah. But yeah, this is going to be a very unique list. But of course, just keep in mind, these are my personal opinions. Personal opinions. If my favorite movie is your least favorite, sorry. If my least favorite is your favorite, then again, sorry. It's just personal opinions. So yeah. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, all 12, starting with number 12. Okay, so coming in at number 12, we have one, I would say not his most recent, because he did have one that just came out, I think, this month, and I will be talking about that later. But one of the most recent films he's done. My number 12, my least favorite David Fincher film is Mank. Yeah, Mank. I did not like Mank, like, at all. I mean, I have just very little. I have very little positives to give this movie. For one thing, the cinematography is great. The black and white cinematography is amazing. It's really good. And the performances are pretty good too. Not like amazing performances, but still decent. Gary Oldman's probably the best as, the lead. Herman J. Mankiewicz, I think is his name. He plays the lead and he's good, but it's definitely not his best performance. Like, not even close. I mean, Leon the Professional, come on. And I gotta say, he was even better as Sirius Black in the Harry Potter movie. So, yeah, definitely not his best performance, but he's a great actor, so he can't really do a bad performance, at least of what I've seen. He's never done a bad performance. I know that also Amanda Seyfried was in this movie, and I think Lily Collins too, if I'm not mistaken. They're both great too, and are good at least, and everyone else, solid. Performances are, solid. It's just the story and also the pacing This movie, I don't even know if this is a 2 hour movie. Is it? Let me check real quick. Okay, it is a little bit 2 hours. Yeah. It feels like it's even longer than it actually is. This movie is really boring. Like, really boring. Even more boring than Citizen Kane, the movie that this movie is kind of, well, supposed, this movie is technically about Citizen Kane. It's about the guy who wrote Citizen Kane. And, hot take here, I'm not a big Citizen Kane fan. I've seen it all the way through only once. I even reviewed it for the channel long ago. I can admit that's a good movie, yes, but it was just kind of boring. But I have to be honest though, this movie's even more boring than Citizen Kane. I'd rather watch Citizen Kane again than this movie ever again. I could watch Citizen Kane maybe one of these days, but I don't think I'll ever watch Mank ever again. Like, I don't think I will. Even when I update this list when the new one comes out, I don't want to watch this again. Like, it was just boring. Do I hate the movie? Not exactly. I don't necessarily hate the movie. I just didn't like it. It was just boring. So, yeah. Mank, that's my number 12. Okay, coming at number 11 is a movie I was very harsh on when I reviewed this movie, and I actually haven't even seen it since I reviewed it. I didn't go back and rewatch it, much like Mank. But I put this up higher than Mank because at least there was a little bit of entertaining scenes. But yeah, this one might piss some of you off because this is a very beloved David Fincher movie. My number 11 is Zodiac. Yeah, okay, so again, much like Mank, this movie I thought was really boring. Like, the only thing I actually liked about this movie were the scenes that showed the killer. Those scenes were good. I really enjoyed those scenes of what I remember. They were really good, really well done. Everything else, I just thought was so boring. I mean, sure, this movie has good performances. Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., but still, though, I mean, it's been a while. It's been a few years. I reviewed this long ago, like not too long after I moved in to this house. I think I reviewed it too, and I just haven't gone back and watched it. I will. Okay, when I do update this list, when the new Fincher film comes out, whatever that will be, I will go back and revisit this. Whether I'll finish it, I don't know, but I'll at least try to watch it, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But right now, I do like it a little bit better in Mank, most because of the killer scenes were entertaining. There was like nothing about Mank I thought was entertaining, so that's why that's my least favorite. But Zodiac is a close second. I wasn't a fan. I'm sorry, but yeah. But yeah, Zodiac, that's my number 11. Okay. Coming at number 10, we have a movie that honestly I wish I could put higher because I'm mixed about this movie here. The stuff I like about this movie, I really like. But unfortunately, not all the way boring, but it is a little bit boring. Much like the last two. It's a little bit boring. And when it's boring, it's really boring. So that's why it's so low on the list. My number 10 is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you like this movie, I'm glad. But I about halfway like this movie. I almost like it, honestly. Daniel Craig, I'm sorry, but Daniel Craig bores the shit out of me in this movie. Like, the only time I kind of like him is whenever he's on screen with Rooney Mara. Now, here we go. Rooney Mara is what makes this movie. Rooney Mara as Elizabeth, her name, I forgot her last name, but the girl with the dragon tattoo. She is fantastic, and it's not just because I'm attracted to her. Yeah, Rooney Mara is a beautiful woman, and she is sexy as hell in this movie. I just want to say that, but no, not just that. I mean, sure, that's part of it, but she is a badass. And not just Rooney herself. The character, Elizabeth, is such a badass. every time she's on screen, I just love it, except for one scene in particular. If you've seen the movie, you might know what I'm talking about. It's pretty disturbing, but you know, she gets her comeuppance at the end from that. So yeah, that's cool. But no, I really enjoyed the character, and I will say she has great chemistry with Daniel Craig. Like the two of them together, I enjoyed very much. But Daniel Craig, when she's not on screen, when it's just him, it's really boring. And I couldn't really keep up with the story too, because you know, it takes a long time for them to even meet. Like it takes about an hour for them to even meet in this movie. Like, you know, it keeps going back and forth between the two. When it gets to Rooney Mara, then I'm interested. But when it gets to Daniel Craig, I just check out. And then when they finally meet, and I'm a little bit more interested. But then also, this movie is very fast paced. It's like maybe a 2-hour movie. It is. It's even longer. It's even longer than Mank, and Mank felt longer than this. Like, I did not like the pacing for this movie because it felt so rushed. And yeah, and like, I don't like the ending. It kind of just ends out of nowhere. And yeah. But yeah, I almost like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Almost, but not quite. So yeah, that's my number 10, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Okay, okay, here we go. Here we go. If you notice, I did not say a certain movie that a lot of people hate from David Fincher, but here we go. I'm finally going to say it. My number 9 is his debut film, which was a sequel to a very popular franchise. That is Alien 3. Yeah, okay, so why do I have Alien 3 ahead of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Zodiac, and Mank? Well, it's a little more entertaining than those three. I didn't rewatch it, but I still remembered some stuff, and it was kind of boring of what I remember, but then there were some cool moments too, and I really enjoyed the cool moments. So it's still kind of fresh in my mind a little bit. I don't love it, but I don't hate it like a lot of other people do. In fact, I like it better than Aliens. I'm sorry. I find Aliens kind of overrated, mostly due to Bill Paxton in that movie, because I hate his character in that movie with a passion. I know that's not directed by David Fincher, that's James Cameron, of course. I'll talk about that when I get to my James Cameron ranking. Okay, just for the record, I don't hate Aliens. I think it's a good movie. Just take away Bill Paxton. He is so annoying in that movie. But anyways, thankfully he's not in this one. He died in Aliens. Spoiler alert. But yeah. But okay. Speaking of dying too, a big thing that people hate about this movie, especially Alien fans, is that it does kill a lot of the characters, like pretty much all of them except for Ripley, of course. Spoilers, but it does kill those characters from the second movie. It kills them in the first scene, and yeah, you know, I was even disappointed when I first saw that, because I actually did like Aliens when I very first saw it, but yeah, when I first saw Alien 3, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because, well, for one thing, because of that. But yeah, but you know, I watched it a few more times. I'm like, I kind of like this movie. It's kind of cool. It's very unique, and I will go and say it. Sigourney Weaver is sexy with a bald head, but she's also, of course, amazing in this film, as she is in the other two films. But yeah. Sigourney Weaver, of course, is great. And it's just a cool looking film. I even like the cinematography and the effects and stuff. It's really cool. And yeah, I don't really have much problems with Alien 3 besides the fact that there are some boring scenes. But other than that, I don't hate it. Like, I don't know. It gets maybe a 6 out of 10 for me, but you know, it's okay. It's okay to me. So yeah, Alien 3, that's my number 9. All right, here we go. Here's one that a lot of people might say is their number 1. So coming at number 8, we have a movie that I used not to like at all. In fact, I can't remember for sure, but I think I might have put this on the list of a video I did a while ago. I did my top 10 movies that I hate but everyone else loves. I think this was on there, if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing it in the thumbnail at least, so it must have been on there. However, I rewatched it and I don't hate it. I don't even necessarily dislike it. Now, of course, I don't love it, but I still have some issues with it. But I actually like this a lot better than I used to. Surprisingly, I did. I was so surprised that I liked it better than I used to. So, anyways, my number 8 is The Social Network. Yeah, I mean, I know. It should be higher, probably. Now, I will say I don't think it's David Fincher's best film because I do see some issues with this movie, honestly. Like, I don't think it's a masterpiece at all. Maybe it should be at least an 8 out of 10, but I give it a 6 out of 10 just because that's just how much I like the movie. But, or did I give it a 7? No, I gave it a 6, yeah. So, okay, let me explain some of the things I liked about it first. So, okay. First thing, Jesse Eisenberg is phenomenal in this film as Mark Zuckerberg. He is really good in this movie. And also, I used to have to like him in this movie, but I actually came around to Justin Timberlake in this movie. I actually like him a lot better as Sean Parker in this movie. He's pretty entertaining. He's kind of funny, too. He's really good. I actually really like him in this movie. Yeah. So yeah, those are 2 good performances, and there's some others that are not bad, like Rooney Mara again. Dakota Johnson has a short little appearance, only in one scene, but yeah. Brenda Song was even from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is in this. I know I'm missing a performance, but I'll get to them later. It'll be on the negatives. I'm sorry, but yeah. Also Rashida Jones. I thought she was good. Okay, so mostly good performances. And then, oh wait, who played the twins? I thought he was pretty good. There was one actor that just played the twins. He was he was okay, I guess. He wasn't like one of the best, but he was fine. He was better than another actor I'll get to later. But yeah. Okay, cinematography was good. I enjoyed the cinematography. And I think, honestly, my favorite thing about this movie, and it was even my favorite thing back when I didn't like this movie, the score. And even the soundtrack as well. Like, there's some good songs in the movie. Like, it ends with Beatles' Baby You're a Rich Man. There's Dead Kennedys in it. And some other cool songs in the soundtrack. Oh, yeah, it opens with the White Stripes, too, with Ball and Biscuit. That's really cool. But also the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Like, it's so good. It's so good. It's really fucking good. Like, I would love to get the soundtrack for this movie. It is amazing. I love it. It's honestly one of my favorite movie scores, even to a movie that I don't love, but it's fantastic. And they scored quite a bit of other movies on here, but at least some of their, I think from The Social Network onward, they did all of Fincher's films, but that one's my favorite. I really like it a lot. So yeah. Okay, negatives. I don't like the pacing. I never like the pacing. It feels pretty fast paced, much like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And yeah, and also it kind of just ends out of nowhere too, sort of. And yeah. Oh, but a big issue, maybe the biggest issue I have with the movie, I think it is, I do not like Andrew Garfield in this movie. I'm sorry, and I haven't seen too much of Andrew Garfield, but I don't really like him all that much. Just other movies I've seen, not really. He was okay in Silence. I didn't like that movie, but he was okay in it, I guess. But I did not think he was good in this movie. Like, he just felt so bland and just like... And whenever he was trying to be serious, I just didn't buy it. I did not think he was good in this movie. Like, I really didn't. I don't know. Um, and I mean, this is beside the point, but also his character's name was like Eduardo or something. I was like, what the fuck? He doesn't look like his name is that. I mean, I guess maybe I think he's based on a real person anyway, so no disrespect to that person. But it just, the name Eduardo or whatever just doesn't fit Andrew Garfield's look, so yeah. But but all right, so I'm mixed on this movie. It's all right. It's okay. I don't love it, but I don't hate it anymore like I used to. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Do I think it's one of the best movies of the last decade, or the best, like Quentin Tarantino has even said? No. No, of course not. But there are much better movies than this. Swiss Army Man is a better movie than this. It is. I even prefer Tusk over the Social Network, but that's just me. Social Network's probably better, but I prefer Tusk. Anyways, but Social Network, yeah, it's okay. It's a fine movie. It's decent. So yeah, that's my number 8 is The Social Network. Okay, coming at number 7, we have a movie I didn't watch until I started this ranking. That is Gone Girl. And Gone Girl, it's about the same with Social Network. Well, kind of. I like it a little better, but it's a fine movie. It's okay. Actually, much like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, like there's 2 lead performances in this movie. I liked one, and the other not so much. Ben Affleck, wasn't really that good in this movie, to be honest. Honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I love him in the Kevin Smith movies, but he's better at comedy. He is. He's better at comedy than he is in movies like this. He wasn't terrible. I thought he was better than Daniel Craig, and even better than Andrew Garfield too. But in Social Network, but I still didn't really like him all that much in this movie. I didn't really. I thought like the actress whoever played his sister, I thought was better than him. But yeah. But Rosamund Pike, or Rosamund Pike, however you say her name, she was outstanding. She was definitely the best in this movie, and it does start out on the point of view of Ben Affleck's character, but then it gets to the point of view of Rosamund Pike's character, and once that happened, I was like, okay, all right, this is good. But, yeah, it's a movie I'll have to watch again. I only watched it once. I don't really remember too much about it, other than what I just said, but I remember it being pretty decent, though. And I enjoyed the third act, I think, the most. But, yeah. Or the second half of the film, at least. But, yeah. Yeah, it's alright. Gone Girl, that's my number 7. Okay, coming at number 6 is another movie much like The Social Network that people will probably get pissed at me because I don't have it higher. This is a movie like either this or Social Network or maybe Zodiac or maybe Gone Girl or maybe one that I'll mention very soon. They'll say that this is their favorites. I think I have heard most people say that this is their favorite. And I kind of get it. It's a good movie. But yeah, my number 6 is 7, which honestly should have been number 7, but oh well. However, I did give this movie a 7 out of 10, so there we go. No, okay. This is also a movie I liked a little better than I used to. I used not to really like this movie all that much, and on rewatch, it's gotten a lot better. Like, I used to say that I did not like this movie really at all until the third act. But on rewatch, I will say that the first 2 acts did get a little bit better for me. But, with that being said, I still don't think they're as good as the third act. The third act is what makes this movie, at least for me. Okay, yes, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, they're great in this movie. Even Gwyneth Paltrow, I will say, it could could have had more of her, but it didn't. She was like barely in it, like surprisingly. But when she was on screen, she was good. But Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, they're good. I liked their characters this time around. Like I enjoyed them, and they were what was making the first two acts work for me. Actually, was their performances and chemistry. But there were still some moments in the movie I wasn't too interested in, to be honest, and just I don't know. It's kind of slow, if I'm going to be honest. A little bit slow. I used to say it was kind of boring. It almost is, but not exactly. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. But then it gets to the third act, and I still think it's really fucking good in the third act. Once Kevin Spacey gets out of the cab and follows Pitt and Morgan Freeman into the police station, covered in blood, that's when the movie gets really good. Whenever he yells out, "Detective!" Yeah. Then the movie is really fucking good. And I'll go in and say it. It's mostly due to Kevin Spacey's performance. Like, he is an amazing villain. I'm not going to talk about him as a person, by the way. I'm just going to talk to him as his performance in this movie. And just for the record, I do like Kevin Spacey as an actor. Not as a person, but as an actor. And this is one of his best performances. I would put this... Okay, not as much as American Beauty, because he's not in it as much as American Beauty, of course. But I would probably put this at number 2 if I was to do a Kevin Spacey top 10. I'm debating whether or not I should. Maybe I will anyways, but it'll of course be talking about just him as an actor, not as a person. But I think this is probably, if it wasn't for American Beauty, I think this would probably be my favorite Kevin Spacey performance, because him as the villain, as John Doe, is just it's so fucking good. Even better than Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in this movie. He really is. It kind of amazes me that he wasn't even nominated for an Oscar for this film, but I kind of understand, because he really didn't even, he's not even in the movie until the third act, but still, like, he is phenomenal, and the ending is phenomenal. It's a great twist, and yeah, even when I first saw this movie, like, I was blown away by the twist. I always loved the ending to this movie. Like, that was my thing. Like, I never really cared for the movie all that much, but I always loved at least the ending. And now I love the whole third act. And but I do like the first two acts, just not as much, you know. It just doesn't get as good to me until the third act. So yeah. But yeah, you know, Seven, it's a good movie. It really is. I used to have it on DVD, but unfortunately, I put it in my Xbox, and then my Xbox stopped working, and now I can't get it out of there. So looks like I don't have Seven right now. I'll get it again eventually. But yeah, Seven. That's my number 6. Yeah. Okay, coming at number 5, we have his most recent film. Just came out this month. That is The Killer. Now, okay, I was really vibing with this movie for quite a while until the ending happened. Then I was like, what? That's it? Like, yeah, the ending kind of ruined it for me, because this was close to getting at least an 8 out of 10, maybe even a 9, but definitely an 8, until the ending happened, and it just like, I mean, it's not like a terrible ending, but it's not good to me, because just nothing really happens. Like, it just ends out of nowhere, and I did not like that at all. But other than that, I did think this was a really cool movie, and it starts out awesome. Like, it starts out really cool. You don't even know if this guy is a good or bad guy for a while. Like, you don't. And that's why I love about it. And And what's his name? Michael Fassbender, who plays this character. Phenomenal. He is so good in this movie. And yeah, that's why, like, because I was really digging this movie until the ending happened. So that's why I didn't love the movie, unfortunately. Because the ending ruined it for me. But it's still a solid movie. It's still at least a 7 out of 10. Wish it could be higher. But yeah, I was like, when I was watching this, I was like, is this going to be my new favorite David Fincher movie? But it wasn't. It didn't. So, but it didn't make it in the top 5 at least. So there's that. So yeah, The Killer, it's an okay movie. It's alright. I should also mention Tilda Swinton's in this too. And she was good. I like her better in another movie coming up. But yeah. The Killer, that's my number 5. Okay, coming at number 4. Now this movie surprised the hell out of me. This was also my first time watching this movie. Was for this ranking. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to like it or not. And actually, I will say, like, whenever it was starting, I wasn't really digging it all that much, but it just kept getting better and better as it went on. And also, it was the last David Fincher movie that I watched, and that what made me say that I have officially seen all of his films. So yeah, my number 4 is The Game. A lot of people actually really like The Game, and they say it's like maybe Fincher's most underrated film. I don't necessarily think that, because there are 2 other movies I like better and I think are more underrated, but yeah, I still would say this is probably an underrated movie. It's really good. Yeah, this movie, much kind of like Seven, it just gets better, and like the third act is what makes it really good, especially the ending. This movie has my excuse me. This movie has my favorite David Fincher twist. It does. And maybe even my favorite David Fincher ending. Yeah, I think it does actually. But definitely my favorite David Fincher twist. Like, the twist in this movie was awesome. And it was just, like, when it happened, I was like, like, I couldn't believe it. It was just so good. And it made the movie great. I mean, I thought it was decent at first, and then, like, by the first act, I was like, this is alright. And then the second act, I was like, this is getting interesting now. And then, in the third act, like, the lead up to the ending, and the ending itself, I just had to clap. I just had to give an applause. I'm like, good job, David Fincher. Like, that was so good. And yeah, I should mention, of course, what I always forget his name. Michael Douglas, right? Isn't it Michael Douglas, the lead actor? I believe it is. Yeah, Michael Douglas is really good in this movie, and he's an actor I'm not too familiar with. Of course, I know who he is, and I know his dad too, Kirk Douglas. You know, he was an actor too. But I don't even know if I've seen any Michael Douglas movies before I saw The Game. But I believe wasn't he in the Joel Schumacher movie Fallen Down? Yes. That's a movie I really want to watch. Especially after watching The Game, because I want to see how his performance goes. And I've been reading about that movie, about like the premise and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to see that movie. And after watching The Game, I definitely want to see it, because I feel like he is probably the perfect actor that could do that. I really want to see Fallen Down. Haven't yet, though, unfortunately, because I can't find it anywhere. I don't know why, but yeah. But also Sean Penn. Sean Penn's in this movie, and he's okay. He's not one of my favorite actors, but he's all right. Yeah. But and whoever played the lead, the main girl in the movie, she was really good. I even forgot the character's name, but the blonde, if you've seen the movie, I thought she was good. I thought she was really good. But yeah, The Game. It's a really good movie, and I'm surprised I really liked it. I need to get it. It's really good, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's really good. It's worth it for the ending. I'll say that. Yeah. Okay, that's my number 4, The Game. All right, now we're in the top 3, and now these movies I own. So okay. All right, so coming in at number 3, if it's not Seven, if it's not Social Network, if it's not Gone Girl or Zodiac, this would probably be people's number 1. And I completely understand. I mean, out of all of those 5 films, this is my favorite. And I gotta say, this was a movie that changed my life. It really was. Because before Eraserhead, this was my favorite movie for quite a while. I think I want to say I was like a junior in high school, I think, and all the way up, even after I graduated, this was still my favorite movie. I was still not exactly a movie lover, film buff or whatever you want to say. Not quite yet, but when I saw this movie, it blew my mind, and I was like, and this was the movie that made me say that I need to watch more movies, because during that time I was only watching comedies, and this is kind of a comedy, but yeah. Actually, I would say out of all his filmography, this is definitely his funniest movie, and maybe even his most popular, and it's definitely one of his most populars. But yeah, my number 3 is a movie that I'm going to talk about. And fuck you, Tyler Durden, for saying I can't talk about it. My number 3 is Fight Club. Yeah, okay, let me get this out of the way. I honestly hate the memes that say, like, you can't talk about Fight Club. You had to call, like, for real, I follow a lot of people on Instagram that, like, are movie lovers and whatnot, and whenever they, like, bring up this movie, they won't even have the words Fight Club. They'll, fucking censor, like, all the words, or just maybe just leave out the F and the C, and just, like, put stars and stuff, and I'm like, you're so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, if you're one of those people, I apologize, but I think that's really stupid. Like, yes, I like this movie a lot, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna talk about this movie. So, yeah, okay, all right. Just with all that out of the way, oops. All right, I'm gonna talk about this movie a little bit. So, Fight Club is a great movie. I rewatched it again, and it still holds up. I mean, of course, I of course see the twist coming, but still, like, it's kind of fun to watch it even after you know the twist, because just with, I mean, no spoilers, but when you know the twist, rewatching it, like, even multiple times, like, I've seen this movie probably about 10 times at least now, but it kind of makes it even better, like, just knowing what's going on, Like, it's kind of fun that way. But yeah, of course, Brad Pitt's great as Tyler Durden, and Helena Bonham Carter is really good as Marla Singer. You got Meatloaf in this movie as Bob, who's a pretty ridiculous character, but he's pretty great, actually. I don't even like Meatloaf as a singer, but I think he's great in this movie. Even Jared Leto, a decent performance. Yeah, I know everyone hates Jared Leto. I think he's better in Requiem for a Dream, but yeah. And of course I gotta mention Edward Norton. Oh yeah, another thing that bugs me too is that they do the same with the movie Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, but they'll, like, show, like, a picture of Brad Pitt and call him Edward Norton too. That really annoys me too. Guys, just stop it. It's not funny, okay? It was kind of funny at first, but it's not anymore. All right, just putting that out there. Anyways, Edward Norton is phenomenal. I mean, of course, Brad Pitt's great, but I think Edward Norton is the show stealer for me. Even when I first saw this movie, I was more impressed by Edward Norton than Brad Pitt. Like I wanted to watch more Edward Norton movies after I saw this, and then I saw other Edward Norton movies like American History X and Birdman, and I was like, yeah, he's a great actor. Like, he really is. And he's still one of my favorite actors. He's so good. Edward Norton's phenomenal. And he's fantastic in this movie as the narrator. He doesn't even have a name, but yeah. Anyways, we're running. Alright, I'm sorry for talking so much. We're getting close to 50 minutes. So, Fight Club is number 3. There's 2 others I like better, but I still enjoy Fight Club. I just like these 2 better. But I'm going to try to speed things up. I don't want to get to 50 minutes. We're at 40 minutes now, so let's just go ahead and keep going. Alright, so coming at number 2, we have... Okay, these last 2 movies I think are very underrated. Coming at number 2, we have Panic Room. Just an awesome, thrilling film. Honestly, this is one of my favorite thrillers. It's just about Jodie Foster and her daughter, who's actually played by Kristen Stewart, a really young Kristen Stewart. They just moved into this apartment, and I think even on the first night, there's these fucking, these people show up, and invade their house, and they go into the small little panic room where there's cameras and stuff, and they're like, no, we're not leaving, and yeah. I'm just trying to speed things up, but it's still a great movie. Like I said, Jodie Foster is great in this movie. She's one of my favorite actresses. She's phenomenal. Kristen Stewart is really good at 12 years old, but yeah, she's really good. And you also got, as the guys who invade the house, you got Forrest Whitaker, Jared Leto again, and Dwight Yoakam. And they're all great. And Dwight Yoakam's actually my favorite because he's just the batshit crazy dude, the guy who just doesn't give a fuck, and he will fucking kill you. The other 2, not necessarily will kill you. They only will if they have to, but But Dwight Yoakam doesn't give a fuck. And his performance, he's better. I like him in Sling Blade better, but he's still great in this film. But yeah, Panic Room, really awesome movie. I recommend it. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it is a awesome movie. I love it. Yeah. Panic Room, that's my number 2. And that would be my number 1 if it wasn't for this one. And now, we are at number 1. And you're probably going to be shocked. If you kept track of what's left, you're probably shocked already. But this is honestly my favorite David Fincher movie. I know there's a lot of people that don't necessarily like it, and there's some people that might like it, but they'll be like, it's not one of his best. I think it is. I think this movie is a masterpiece, if I'm going to be completely honest. I love it. And this is coming from a guy who has a very short attention span. A lot of people say this movie will be boring. I don't think it's boring at all. I really don't. My number 1 favorite David Fincher movie is The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Yeah, we already had Fight Club and Seven, and sure, he's great in those movies, but I think Brad Pitt I think he gives his best performance in this movie. He is amazing as Benjamin Button, and also the makeup job and whatnot on him is just so good. Cate Blanchett, who is honestly my favorite actress. I mean, I love her in everything. And yeah, this is definitely one of her best performances, without a doubt. And they have amazing chemistry in this movie. This is after watching this movie, I rewatched this again for this ranking, and just to make sure that, because it was already number one, but I wanted to make sure, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's number one after I finished it. Honestly, this is one of my favorite love stories. Unfortunately, it doesn't end that happy. That might be a spoiler, but yeah. But still, like, it's a beautiful love story, and it's also a tragic love story. The ending is... the third act in general is, like, really sad. And I didn't cry, because I don't cry very much when I watch movies, to be honest. There's very few movies that have made me cry, but I didn't... This movie didn't make me cry, but I did feel it. I did feel the emotion. And like... Yeah, it's sad what happens and stuff. I don't want to spoil, but if you know the movie, it's about Brad Pitt aging backwards. So yeah, and I'll just say, if someone has that condition, whether you would have that condition, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's real, but if it was real, if you would have that condition, or your significant other has that condition, then yeah, that could be tough. You know, trying to grow old with this person while the other grows young, or you grow young while that other person grows old. Like, yeah, that could be rough, and it shows that in this movie. So yeah. Also, Tilda Swinton again is great in this movie. She's in it a little bit, but when she's on screen, she is phenomenal. Also, a very young Elle Fanning plays one of the younger versions of Cate Blanchett's character, and you know, she's barely in the movie, but she's really good though. She was really young, but even at a young age, she was a really good actress. Elle Fanning was, but yeah. But no, man, I love this movie. Like I said, I don't think it's boring. I love everything about it. Like, the cinematography is outstanding. The music's great. Yeah, just, and of course, like I said, the performances, everything just works for me. It doesn't even feel that long either. Not. I mean, it's kind of long, but I don't really feel the length. Like, it's very well paced, in my opinion. And yeah, I honestly don't have any issues with it. Like, I really don't. It's a kind of slow, but it's not boring. So yeah, I love Benjamin Button, and it's honestly my favorite David Fincher movie. It might be an odd choice, but that's just my opinion. So, yeah. But yeah, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, that's my number one favorite David Fincher film. Alright, there we go. There is my ranking for all 12 of David Fincher's films. So in the comments, please give me your ranking for all of David Fincher's films. If you haven't seen them all, that's fine. Just, give a ranking of the ones you have seen, or just say what your favorite and least favorite David Fincher films are. Okay, so coming this Saturday, hopefully, I'm going to try to put up a special video. I have a new favorite movie, and I meant to do it. I actually originally wanted to do it last Saturday, but I didn't get to. I'm going to try to this time. I have a new favorite movie. It's no longer Eraserhead. It's something else. I'll go and say it's not Benjamin Button, or of course any others, but that wouldn't make any sense. No, it's The Killer, but even though it was at number 5 on this list, yeah, no, it's no movie on this list. It's a movie that will probably catch you off guard. Speaking of Benjamin Button catching you off guard, this one will probably catch you even more off guard, maybe. But yeah, I'm not going to reveal what it is. You just have to stay tuned for that video this Saturday. I'm going to do most likely an hour-long video just talking about it. Like, I'll reveal what it is, and I'll explain why. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. That should be fun. So, all right. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the bell. And I'll see you guys this Saturday. Yeah, I'll see you later. Yeah. Okay. Peace.